Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here again, and welcome back to our Oceania tour, where we are flying the Airbus around Australia, New Zealand, and all the other countries in the area that is considered Oceania. I've got to be honest with you, I'm not very familiar with that part of the world. I've been to Australia twice when I was in the military, and that was it. So on our last flight, we flew up to Cairns International Airport. That's where we are now. I told you in the last flight that there was an add-on scenery for this. I did go ahead and install it and all the libraries that you had to install and all that. It was a bit of work, but I got it done, and it is very well done. It looks really nice. So I'm grateful for that. I'll try to remember to put a link down in the video description there. But today we're going to be flying from Cairns International to Port Moresby. I think it's Jackson International, which is in Papua New Guinea. So we've spent some time up there now in the flight sim, haven't we, when we did the worst place to be a virtual pilot. So that was a pretty good time. Maybe we'll go back to doing some of that series in the future. But that's where we're going to be flying today, Cairns International to Port Moresby in our beautiful Qantas A320. It is getting dark out. It's that time of day. So what do you say we climb up into the flight deck and we get to work? Alrighty folks, you know the drill. Let's take a look at the flight plan here. Just so you know, it's a little darker out because I took care of everything and I had to let the time run a little so we didn't depart too early. And I didn't see any point in us sitting here just staring at the windscreen. So here we go, Cairns International to Jackson's, YBCS to AYPY. The only add-on airport I could find for AYPY was the one from Orbix, which is $40, and I'm not going to fly there enough to justify that expense. So we're going to be flying into whatever the default airport is there. We've got a cost index of 85. It's not a very long flight this time, 498 nautical miles. We will have some long flights in this one, but not today. Estimated takeoff weight is 154,056 pounds, landing weight at 147,372 pounds, and our zero fuel weight is 135,471 pounds. I did add 2,000 pounds of extra fuel just because it looks like it's been getting a little tight on a couple of the flights I've done here. So I thought, well, a couple extra 1,000 pounds won't hurt any, that's for sure. So that puts our block fuel at 19,093 pounds, which we loaded through the EFB on the aircraft. We are going to be flying at flight level 370 today. Off block time is supposed to be, I didn't change the times in here again. It's supposed to be 0900 Zulu, which is obviously late in the evening here, so my bad. 164 packs, 9,000 pounds of cargo, 37.7 thousand pounds of payload. Zero fuel weight, we already talked about that. Fuel, we talked about that. Takeoff weight, we talked about that, and that takes care of our flight briefing. Alrighty, so while PACX does add some immersion, you can see down here at the bottom of the screen we got 25 minutes until our expected departure. That's the amount of time it's going to take them to load the packs. We got a few things we got to do anyway, so that's fine. And I'm not going to make you guys sit here and stare at the windscreen for 25 minutes with me. But let's go ahead and make sure we got everything set up for our flight here. We are running on the ground power right now. That's what we want. Flight plan has already been inserted. We're going to use runway 15. No departure. However, we do have Hackett and Easy in there, which are from the Easy departure. And I'll show you that here in a minute. We'll actually do a taxi and departure brief during this little wait period here. But either way, that's where we got those waypoints from. Then it's out to Pupeb. And then the decel point Lotgu, which is the arrival that I chose, but we have no idea what runway we're going to be taking there, so we're just leaving that open as a discontinuity at the moment, and that works out just fine. I did find a performance calculator that seems not too terrible, and I'll bring that over here and show it to you real quick. It's actually from a website. This is the calculator here. Of course, the ads are popping up because calculators on a website. But there you go. So you just put in your numbers here. You choose the aircraft, put in your gross weight. This is the one that I had to mess with a bunch of times. It doesn't let you put it in as a decimal. You have to put it in as a whole number. So for example, our gross weight is about 154,580. So you have to put in 154,580. Our center of gravity is 25. We are going to do flaps 1. Anti-ice will be off. Air conditioning will be on. That's our departure airport. That is the distance and the heading for the runway. It is dry. Airport elevation is correct. This I want to change to, and I'm just going to show you where I got these numbers from. So it's 3006. So put that in there just like that. It is 12 degrees Celsius out, and the wind when I pulled the ATIS was 136 at 15. These numbers came from clicking on this guy right here. Not sure how much I trust that because the source is obviously different than the one that the sim is using. So that's where these numbers initially came from. If I calculate that, and now it's telling me, so it changed it up a little bit. It's saying flex 17, 136, 139, 153. Now I'm not sure how accurate this is, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to go with it. So let me throw it back on the screen over here, and let's just change those numbers a little bit. So we've got 136, 139, 153. So 136, 139, and then 153 was already in there. You can see the numbers didn't change a whole lot, but the flex temp did. So this is going to be 17, which means we're going to get a lot more juice. And I think I was doing it wrong on the last departure, and you guys can let me know. I'm going to do it differently this time, but I think what you're supposed to do is you're actually supposed to put it in the flex, not the toga, when you're doing a flex takeoff. And I put it in toga anyway, so my bad. Mistakes will be made, folks. And then we've got flaps 1, and the trim is going to be up 0.8. So that's where we got all those numbers from. Transition altitude I think is actually 11,000 feet here, wasn't it? Let me just double check that while I'm here. No, transition altitude is 10,000 feet. I'm pretty sure it was 11 when we came in, but it's 10,000 feet, so there's that. Then we'll hop up here real quick, and let's just make sure we've got our MCP ready to go. So we don't have any altitude restrictions, so we're just going to take it right up to flight level 370. There we go, 370. All of these are on managed mode. Everything else is good to go. The QNH is set 3006. So there's nothing else to do at the moment except wait for them to finish boarding, which they don't appear to be going any faster. So I'll be back here in a little bit. We will be ready to push and start, and then off we'll go. Oh, there is one more thing we can do real fast. Checklist. Got to take care of the checklist, right? So cockpit preparation, gear pins and covers, fuel quantity. I set it using this system here. If you don't know how to do that, go to the little truck, go to the fuel page, type in your fuel. It doesn't let you highlight that, so you got to use the backspace key and then choose whether you want real fast, instant, and then it loads the fuel for you. That's the best way to do it. So it's there. Use it. Seatbelt sign. Actually, I haven't turned that on yet, believe it or not. Let's go ahead and turn that on. Probably get an announcement. We'll see. ADIRS is on nav. Barrel ref is set. That takes care of our cockpit preparation checklist, and we'll take care of the before start checklist when we're ready to push. Be back here shortly to take care of that. Alright, as you can see from our little bar down here, you can get rid of this in case you're wondering. You just set a hotkey for it. We've got a couple minutes left of boarding. Let's take a look at this taxi and departure briefing real quick so that we've knocked those out of the way. So here we are, Cairns in Australia, Cairns International. ATIS was 131.1, delivery on 28.75, ground on 21.7. Tower is 24.9, and departure on 18.4. We're going to be taking runway 15, so we're going to push back. I've already set the push back up. So it'll be nose right, tail left. We're going to taxi down here on Delta to Charlie 1, and we'll take that up to Bravo 2, and then we're going to have to back taxi and turn around up here on the runway. What else we got here? Anything else we need to concern ourselves with? These are some hot spots and other stuff like that. We're not even going to be on this side of the airport, so I'm not really worried about that. We are at the international terminal. That's where we're supposed to be, so that's fantastic. Now, as already mentioned, we're not actually taking the EZ2 departure, but I pulled a couple of waypoints from it, so I just wanted to show you that. So there is no departure set up for runway 15, so we do want to make an immediate left turn though. I don't know if you guys heard that, but she just like hollered in my ear saying, "We're ready to go if you are." So about time they're ready. So anyway, when we pull out here, or when we take off, we'll make an immediate left turn to Hackett, and then out to Easy, and then on course from there. So I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Now, since they're finally ready, let's go ahead and get things rolling here. Like I said, I already set up the pushback Boy, that view was interesting, huh? So let's go ahead and disconnect these guys. We got to go up here to do that. No, it's this one, services. So let's get rid of the jet bridge there, and while that's taking place, we'll start the APU. Master switch on, start switch on, and then if you want to monitor it, sometimes it'll pop up on its own. Sometimes it won't.
101. Our flight
pop it up right there. That'll let us know how we're doing with that.
Now that the cabin door is closed, please make...
Alright, we finally got the APU up and running there. It took a minute. It was a little slow to get started. So now with the APU running, we can take the external power off. Let's put the APU bleed on first, go off the external power, and we're ready for that pushback. So let's request that.
Cockpit to ground. This is ground. Stand by.
And I did away with the whole lift thing, just because that's weird to me. It doesn't seem right. So let's double check our doors here. Oops, I just moved the the trim. Door page. Doors are closed. Trim is supposed to be at 0.8, so we'll put this on flight controls, and we'll put this at 0.8. That's 0.9. Need to be 0.8. There we go. That's looking good. We'll leave that on that page for the moment, and we're just waiting to push back. That sounds weird the way he says that. It will start in sequence. I think he means to say, yeah, we'll start in sequence. Alright, so we'll roll that over to ignition. Click on that bad boy, and the engine starts cranking up. It's as simple as that. Could put this on the engine page for the moment, I suppose.
Ladies
So we're
and
gonna,
gentlemen, please direct your complete attention.
of course, she would start talking the second I did. We're gonna let both engines 2 and 1 get started up. Then we'll come back on here and we'll be ready to taxi. Once again, let me know down in the comments if you guys would like to see the engine starts. You know, we were parked like inside that truck. That's so frustrating. Let me know in the comments if you want to see full engine starts on both sides. Other than that, see you back here shortly. Alright, pushback is complete, safety brief is complete. A little bit of cleanup work here before we can taxi out. Let's arm the speed brakes, set the flaps to 1. We've already gone ahead and taken care of setting our trim, flight controls, full left, full right, neutral, all the way up, all the way down, and neutral again, and then full left and full right on the rudder. I know they bounce a little to the right, but I did calibrate them. They seem to be doing a little bit better, so that's kind of nice. And then takeoff config page, we're going to need to go max auto brakes. We need to check the cabin. I don't know if you'll hear them. I've been hearing them in my headset. And then takeoff config test one more time. There we go. Everything else looks set. Let's take care of our checklist here. I did do the before start checklist. Anti-ice is off. ECAM status has been checked. Pitch trim is set to 0.8. Rudder trim is set to neutral. Taxi checklist, flight control check is complete, flaps are set to 1, radar and predictive wind shear is on, engine mode select, we're going to set that back to normal, I didn't do that yet, and ECAM memo is set to takeoff and no blue, and then we need to go back down here, set this to normal mode. Somebody let me know down in the comments whether or not that's supposed to be on ignition. I'm sure I could find it, but yeah, just let me know, it makes it easier, right? Get up to proper view here. And let me get the track IR on. Let's get it centered. There we go. And with everything else running, APU bleed can go off. APU can go off, maybe. There we go, APU off. You can also turn that dome light off. Oh, there, she just came on and said the cabin is secure, so that took a minute, huh? Alright, taxi light on, and then runway turn off lights just to help us out. And let's get the parking brake off. There it is. And away we go, off to Papua New Guinea. Alright, you folks know the drill by now. I'm going to start taxiing out here. Pretty straightforward stuff. I will get us down to the runway there, and then once I'm lined up, or just, what am I talking about? When I'm holding short of the runway, I'm trying to get my brain to work properly here. When I'm holding short of the runway, then I'll come back on and
the cabin lights will be dimmed
we'll do the takeoff. I'll see you in a minute.
Lighting, there's a reading light on the panel above.
This thing taxis so fast, it's crazy. Alright, here we are at the turnaround point at the end of the runway. Obviously, we already have our landing lights on and strobe light because we're taxiing down the runway. So, even though we weren't taking off, if you're taxiing down a runway, you still got it. You're supposed to do it even if you cross a runway. Unless they've changed that, but last time I heard or checked, even crossing a runway, you're supposed to put on your strobes and your landing lights so that any approaching aircraft can see you. I could be wrong about that. I've been wrong about a lot of things. Alright, let's swing her around here. This thing taxis so fast. It's just crazy to me. Like, I have zero thrust on. Absolutely none. Alright, let's see if we can get her lined up here without using too much runway. I could have turned that in just a wee bit sooner, huh? Alright, back to this side just a little bit. And we'll bring her to a nice easy stop. Nice and gentle. So the passengers aren't being bounced around back there. You know how fickle they get. Okay, let's take a look at our fickle, or finicky maybe is a better word. Lineup checklist, takeoff runway, or runway 15. TCAS is set to TARA, and I did put it to auto this time. Packs 1 and 2 are on auto as well. That takes care of our checklist there. We can put that back on this page, and we're ready to go. And again, this time I'm going to use the flex temp mode, or the flex, what is it, flex MCT. I'm not sure what MCT stands for. I'll have to look that up. That's what I'm going to use for takeoff, so here we go. I'm going to just release brakes. We're going to go to climb mode first, let them stabilize just for a second, and then go to flex. Okay, there's flex there. And away we go. 80 knots. Oh yeah, no problem with that. Look at that. There's rotate already. I don't know what all the flashing is all of a sudden. Gear coming up. And there you see there's that immediate left turn. So we'll start that turn right away. We're well above our minimum maneuvering speed, so I'm not worried about making that turn right away. It's not dangerous. It's not overstressing the aircraft. Although, honestly, I doubt that you would probably turn that early, now that I think about it. But, you know, all of my flying is private pilot, small general aviation aircraft. I've never flown an airliner in real life. So if any of you, I know AJ watches the channel. AJ, maybe you can let us know. Has there ever been a time when you make a immediate turn after taking off? He used to fly Airbus. He's training to be a 777 captain right now. So AJ would know for sure. So AJ, let me know in the comment section there if you happen to get a chance to watch this video. Let's get the flaps up here. Still getting those micro stutters. The AIG traffic is turned off. It actually stalled out. It froze or crashed or whatever. So I think I'm just done with AIG traffic. I love having the traffic there, but right now I'm just having too many problems as far as I can tell. I think that's our strobe light, which is a little obnoxious. Alrighty, we're climbing really good here. We've got everything on managed mode. Let's go ahead and let's bring that floodlight on. Man, I don't like that floodlight. It's ugly. Let's just get the dome light on here. How about that? Dome light coming on. It's just, some stuff's hard to see. There's 10,000 feet, so we can go ahead and take the landing gear, or landing lights off. Probably shouldn't take the landing gear off on the airplane. I didn't even put that on takeoff mode. Runway turn off lights can go off. Let's turn the strobe lights to the regular on and see if it gets rid of that flashing. It seems to have gotten rid of it, so that's good, because that was driving me nuts. Standard on the altimeter there. Let's unarm the spoilers there. Alright, flaps are up, gear is up, spoilers are no longer armed, landing lights are off. That takes care of anything for our after takeoff checklist, and that means it is time once again for some of that obligatory elevator music. cruising along nicely here. We're going to be at top of descent. I don't know, how quick can you do math? So at 97 nautical miles from Lot Goose when we want to start descending, so we're 68 miles from top descent. That was pretty quick for math, especially for me. Let's take a real quick look here at our arrival and our approach briefings, and then we'll get the aircraft set up. We'll be ready to rock and roll. So it is going to be the Lot Goo 1 RNAV arrival. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, so I apologize if I'm butchering it and somebody's like, oh, it's making your ears hurt. The ATIS is on 128.0. I do have that tuned in, so we'll see if we pick that up while we're talking here. Transition altitude or transition level is flight level 210. That is programmed into the FMC, so that's something we need to keep in mind because that's much higher than anything we're used to. This is the arrival for runways 14 left and 32 right, max speed 250 below 10,000. That's the usual. So we're going to come in over here at Lot Goo. We're going to be using runway 14 left. So we're going to go from Lot Goo down to ADSIM, then to ADLEV, then to DABLO, VIMIB, and then on to the approach from there. There are no altitude constraints, but there is a minimum safe altitude along each, so I have a set to go to be at Lot Goo 6,000 feet. We'll travel at 6,000 feet to ADSIM and then descend to 4,000, then to 3, and then so on from there. Let's take a look at the approach. This always takes a little bit longer to brief, so let's zoom this in a little bit. We already said what the ATIS is there. That's maybe a little too far. Jackson's radar 125.8, tower on 18.1, ground is 21.7. Localizer frequency is 110.1. I have not tuned that in yet, but it might have done it automatically. We'll take a look here in a minute. Final approach course is 142 degrees with glide slope intercept at 1,400 feet or 12. It's 1,400 feet MSL or 1,297 feet AGL. It's 4.1 from IWG and 5.1 from PY. So PY is the VOR and IWG is the ILS or the localizer. I don't know what you call it, beacon, I guess. ILS decision altitude 347 feet for us. Airport elevation is 129 feet, and the runway touchdown zone elevation is 103 feet. So there's going to be some slope there. And we will have slope because it's no longer the flat world of Flight Simulator X. Missed approach procedure is climb on 142 degree track, dead reckoning track to 1,500 feet. So I guess just try and keep it pointed straight ahead. Then, unless otherwise directed by ATC, turn right onto a 322 degree dead reckoning track. So basically making a U-turn. And continue climb to 2,500 feet at or beyond distance 9.0 PY. So you need to be at least 9 nautical miles out from PY. Turn right for pilot intercept of 142 degree localizer track and hold at 9 DPY. So we make this turn, backtrack here, and then it's an inbound at 9 nautical miles is the waypoint. So PY 90 or 9.0. So 9 nautical miles is your waypoint for the holding track. It's an interesting way to do it. I haven't seen it done that way before. Looking down here, so 2,500 feet coming in at 7.8 from IWG, 8.8 from PY. We'll start our descent there, but glide slope intercept is over here, 1,400 feet, and then missed approach point down here. Straight in landing runway 14 left for the ILS, 347 feet is our minimums. PAPI lights doesn't say which side, and then you have your information there for your missed approach. Yeah, let's see if I can get my brain working here. Okay, so let's go ahead and set our altitude to 6,000 feet here. Remember, I have a knob on my Bravo throttle quadrant, which is actually a fantastic piece of kit. If you don't have one and you have an opportunity to get it, I highly recommend it. We're looking for 97 nautical miles from Lot Goo here. We're at 130 right now, so we've got a little time to work with, not a problem. So that is set. Now I do want to show you, I'm just bouncing back and forth here. So taking a look in here, if we go to our nav radio, we can see that IWG and 110.10 is already in there, and that is the proper frequency, and it also has the forward course of 142 degrees in there. So we're set on that. Now another thing we can do is we can tune in the VOR here. We can just put PY, and if there's more than one, it'll give us options. But if I just put PY, there it is, 117.0, and that is the correct frequency, so we're good there. And then we could put the course there, but we're not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to put in a fix. So we'll put in a fix. I had started to put LOTGU, and I don't remember why, but I don't need it for anything. So I'm going to use PY as my fix. So PY, let's see if it lets me change it here. It should. Yeah, there we go. So you see there's a lot of options here. Well, it's clearly none of the ones that are 3,000 or 8,000 miles away. We know it's this one, and then of course our frequency matches up. So we'll grab that. So the radial that we're looking for our missed approach, now remember we're looking at our holding pattern here, right? So it's 9 nautical miles from PY, and it's an inbound course of 142 degrees. So I'm going to put 142, that's our course line, okay, and then I'm going to put for the radius 9 nautical miles, and that's going to create a circle, so that where that circle and that radial meet is going to be, actually it should be the back course of that now that I think about it, that should be 322, because we want the point where those two meet, where the radius and or the radial and the radius meet, that's that 9 nautical miles out, and where we want to be doing our hold if we do a missed approach. Okay, so it's pretty easy to set up. You can do a bunch of different things with that. We're not looking to go into a bunch of detail here. I just wanted to show you that really quickly. As far as the approach is concerned, we don't have wind and temp or anything yet, at least nothing solid, so I'm not going to put those in until we're on the approach. The only thing I've put in is our minimums. So I'll see you guys shortly when we are getting close to the approach. Alright folks, as you can see on here, we're just about to cross ATSIM, just a couple miles from it. I've already set the altitude to 4,000 feet. Now, I've also got the altitude restraints or constraints in here, right? So 4,000 here, DAPLO is 3,000, and then 2,900. So I should be able to just set this all the way down to 2,900 and let it go. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to try and manually control it, or semi-manually, right? So I'm controlling the descent is what I'm doing. So here we go down to 4,000 feet. So let's let her descend here. And then as you can see, we're going to come up and around, and then on in we go. So we've already briefed this. You guys know what's going on. So I'm going to just kind of fly it and then come back in as we're getting close to final. I just wanted to show you what's going on here. And we'll be landing here shortly. Alright, we're starting the turn here at Adley. Let's go ahead and finish getting set up here. So this is supposed to be 3,000. There we go. There we go. We're descending now. So I'm going to take it all the way to 2,900 now. Right? That's what we had it set at, isn't it? Let me double check down here real quick. So 2,500 is what I'm looking for. So let's get that set to 2,500. There we go. Let's take a look at our approach checklist here. Let me zoom that in for you a little bit. So barrel ref is set, seatbelt sign is on, minimums are set, auto brake is 0, engine mode select is normal, and let's just do our landing checklist now. It'll be ECAM landing, no blue. So once it goes into the approach phase, oops, I actually need to be on this, but over here. Once it goes into the approach phase, which it'll do automatically once it passes this decel point right here. Or we could activate approach phase now by going to the performance page, go to the approach, and then click on activate approach. We're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and let it activate the approach on its own. So everything's looking good here. Once we start this turn here, oh, we need the next setting, flaps. Once we start this turn here, we'll go ahead and arm the localizer. This is that 322 degree radial, this blue dotted line, and this is that 9 nautical mile circle there. So that was for our missed approach. We set that up. And remember, our missed approach altitude is ultimately going to be 2,500 feet. So that's where we're set right now. We're looking good on that. Let's go ahead and arm the localizer here. And it grabbed it immediately, so that works out nicely. And then we'll arm the approach. And now it's waiting for the glide slope. So we'll wait till it intercepts the glide slope before we drop the gear. Let's go ahead and get to a usable view here. That is not. That really isn't either, is it? Okay, track higher coming on a little jump. Oh, that went all kinds of weird on us, didn't it? Okay, let me get that centered up properly. I think I've just zoomed in. I don't know. Okay. Let's go ahead and get these overhead lights off, dome lights. There we go. Alright, localizer's locked on. We're looking good there. I don't know why this view is not proper anymore. So that should be centered right there, and it's not. So let me just center it up myself, I suppose. That's a little better. I don't like that the strobe lights are flashing inside the flight deck. That's it's a little bit on the obnoxious side. So it wants me to. I don't know why the speed. It's like it's in approach mode. That's why. So let's go ahead and drop the landing gear. That's why it's going so slow. And then it's, I forget what it's called. But it's basically an anti-stall thing that it's doing.
Please prepare for landing.
So what it's doing is, we're at flaps 3 right now. We'll go ahead and go flaps full. So what it's doing is it's increasing thrust and taking away your ability to do certain things because it's about to stall. Of course it shouldn't be, but I think I might have put a speed restriction in there or something, so it's probably my fault. But if you put a speed restriction in there too low, or because the V approach, so if we go in here to performance, right, so it wants to be at 139, so it was trying to get to that already because it went into the approach mode on its own, and so that's part of what caused that. Look at that moon, nice bright full moon. What I dislike about that is look at how far out we are. That's what I dislike about it. So right now, I mean, it won't even descend to 2500. Oh, now it's starting to descend. So we haven't intercepted the glide slope or anything yet. We're still underneath it, actually. So we're waiting for glide slope intercept at this point. I might fast forward just a little bit again because since it's already got us flying so slow. Now just so you know also, the wind has been crazy gusty. Look at it right now, you can see it's at 20 knots. It's been all the way down to like 12 and as high as like 25.
2,500.
So it's going to be an interesting landing.
2,500.
Alright, we're just about to the glide slope intercept point here. You can see that there, it just grabbed the glide slope and it's starting the descent. So I didn't really care for flying that slow for that long. I was trying to kind of avoid that. I used to do that all the time. That's how I did my approaches because I was scared to do the approach, I guess. But either way, so we've got our speed brakes are armed, flaps are set to full, landing gear is down, we've got 3 green, we're not using any auto brakes, and our landing checklist, ECAM memo, all green, no blue. We can check that one off, fantastic. And we're ready to go. So let's listen to our call outs. I'm going to let the autopilot do a bit of the work for the moment just because the wind is so gusty. But once it settles in here, I'm going to take control because why not? Alright, so everything's looking good right now. We're on the descent on the glide slope. Localizer's locked in. Everything's solid. I'm going to go ahead and take control of the aircraft here. My airplane. Alright, so the wind is semi-steady. It is gusting still. It's at 18 knots right now and 17, and so that we're going to see a lot of gusting back and forth with that wind, I think. So it looks like the PAPI lights are on both sides of the runway. Right now it's a little hard to see them, so I'm just trying to follow the diamond on the primary flight display there. We're getting just a little high. She's climbing. Alright, let's go ahead and get that nose over just a little bit there. Overall, we're not doing too bad. The wind just kind of went kaput on us there. There we go. Coming right back on a glide slope. Not that far. Yeah, see, the wind is just kind of all over the place. Down to 12 knots right now. So in real life,
1,
you know, you have the feel. You can feel the aircraft moving, and you can feel the wind changing, especially on approach. I don't know how much you can in a large aircraft. You certainly can in a small general aviation aircraft, but it's hard to feel it in this, you know, in the sim, right? There's no real feel, so you just got to kind of watch it and see, are you getting a little high, are you getting a little low? We're visual now, so I'm no longer looking at the diamond. I'm just looking at my PAPI lights and my aiming point. I'm just trying to keep that aiming point, which is, I'm aiming at the threshold, so I want to keep that right about here in the windscreen until, you know, we're right above the runway.
500. 100 above. 400.
See that little dive there?
Minimum.
That's that gusty wind.
300.
Ooh. Yeah, that got us a little low. We're all right though.
$200.
Yeah, we're good.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Just floated her a little. Smooth as silk though. Minus 66 feet per minute. That was pretty nice. I like it. Alright, manual braking. And I'll just go down to the end here. Oh, because I didn't go ahead and slam on the brakes and take that exit there, we have to go all the way to the end of the runway to the turnaround point. You notice all those little sort of cross hashes or whatever X's all over the runways? I see that quite a bit, and then they sort of fade away as you get closer. Anybody know what that's all about? Because I have no idea. Alright, let's get her turned around here. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and back taxi on the runway here and get her tucked in, and then we'll see you when we're ready to shut everything down. Alrighty, folks, we're pulling into the international terminal here. There is a jetway, so we'll see if we can get it to work. It's really dark, obviously, because I turned the taxi light off, because that's the right thing to do. Can't see. I don't know if that guy's... Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, okay. Nice, nice. Nice to have a little ground guidance. One of them went away. Oh my gosh. There it is, right there. Okay. Well, good. It's always nice when you get some ground guidance, right? Okay, let's go ahead and get the seatbelt sign off and the dome lights on. There we go. And then let's go ahead and attach the jetway over here. So, jet bridge. That'll take care of the door. Ground power, cargo doors, baggage truck, all those can get opened up. Is that jetway coming over? It is. Fantastic. Which means they should start the unloading as soon as that thing's attached. Or actually, they'll do it once we start the, or once we turn off the engine. So APU bleed on. I already turned the APU on. There we go. All right, and they're gonna start. Of course, you know they were all standing up already, right? You're probably standing up before we even got to the terminal. All right, so there we have it, pulled in nice and easy. Let's take a look. I did do the after landing checklist. I need to get in a better habit of doing it verbally on here, but radar and predictive wind shear off, not a problem. Parking checklist. Parking brake and shocks are set, engines are off. We do need to get the rest of those lights off really quick. So let's see here. Nav and logo lights can go off, wing lights can go off, beacon lights can stay on. The rest of those lights are off. We can turn this guy off. Emergency exit lights don't need to be armed anymore. And all the we'll leave the fuel pumps on when we have the APU on. We've got external power available now though, so we'll take that. Turn the APU bleed off. APU master switch off. Turn off all the fuel pumps. And that takes care of shutting down the aircraft, ladies and gentlemen, and that means that's going to wrap it up for this one. They are loading baggage again instead of unloading. Every time they do that every time. It's ridiculous. Passengers are unloading right now. I do not have any other AI traffic in here. AIG keeps crashing. So I'm probably just going to get rid of it, to be honest with you, until something better comes along. But I hope that you enjoyed the flight. I most certainly did. I've flown into this airport once or twice, but not very often. But it's going to be a lot of fun to continue this series and get to a bunch of different airports in this part of the world. I've just not spent a lot of time over here. I want to give another shout out to my man Oz Flight Simmer there. He's got a great channel. If you haven't heard of it, you probably haven't been in Flight Sim very long. He runs an awesome channel over there. Go check him out. He puts out just some absolutely fantastic content. Of course, he's out here in Australia, so I'm kind of dedicating this series to him. So this is my shout out to you, my friend. And that's going to wrap it up for this one, folks. Do give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I know you hear it over and over, but it definitely helps. It makes a difference. It puts these videos higher up in the search queue and so on. So it would really be a huge help for me if you would give the video a thumbs up. I would appreciate it very much. Unless, of course, you hate the video. If you like the channel and you think that I've earned it, we just got run over by a car, please hit the subscribe button and click on the bell if you want to get notifications. That's it. That's all, and no more, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up, unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all, and have an absolutely wonderful day.